Corvin Hase Lord Hayes. I did not write this, but it is built from some of my ideas and some from my friend, Safi Kaze. This is the Chromapetal Garden of Wythlorne. In an age long before our current chronologies congealed into anything recognizable, there existed a wondrous province called Wythlorne, a sprawling, undulating land where every inhabitant tended a personal garden. These gardens were not mere assemblages of flora. They were exquisitely autobiographical landscapes. Each seed sprouted according to the temperament, dream substance, courage, and peculiar predilections of its caretaker. Some gardens shimmered with periwinkle vines that whispered riddles at dusk. Others bloomed with sonorous blossoms whose petals trembled out hymns when brushed by the wind. There were horticultures of crystalline mosses, incandescent fungi, and flowers that refused to open unless laughed at sincerely. Into this kaleidoscopic realm there arrived a single child, Esperion, whose inner light was so unusual it appeared to refract from an angle the others could neither anticipate nor categorize. While most children sprouted plants of recognizable hue, azure lilies, viridian shrubs, ochre fronds, Esperion's garden unfurled something wholly unanticipated, a luminous chromapetal vine of shimmering amethyst gold. It was neither a color nor a category Wythlorne had language for. The elders, venerable though somewhat consternated, gathered around the strange vine, murmuring, "This is irregular. We've never seen such an iridescence. It must be an error of cultivation, perhaps a phase, perhaps a misseed. The soil is capricious this year." Esperion, gentle but unflappable, simply said, "I am who I am, and my garden grows what it grows." This, understandably, caused an uproar. The Council of Chromatic Consistency, whose primary responsibility was ensuring that gardens did not become too unpredictable, summoned the child. They were bedecked in robes of impeccable sky blue, the most common hue in the province, a shade considered efficiently agreeable and, therefore, unassailable. "The truth, dear Esperion," said Magistrate Blythe, "is that we can't have such chromatic aberrations in Wythlorne. We are an orderly people, harmonious in hue. Variety is delightful, yes, but only within the pre-approved palette." The magistrate leaned closer, lowering his voice as though divulging a scandalous tenderness. "You don't have to let your vine grow. You don't have to be whatever your garden seems to be becoming. You may replant with compliant seedlings. We can help you cultivate a perfectly acceptable sky blue bloom, just like the rest of us. Wythlorne is generous that way." Esperion blinked, politely baffled. "But I never asked for sky blue," they replied. "I was given this vine. It grows because I exist, and I exist because I was meant to." This was not the answer the council had prepared for. Thus began Esperion's involuntary enrollment in the retrellising program, a curious institution whose architects insisted they could reroute one's natural growth back to normalcy. They attempted to coax Esperion into pruning the chromapetal vine, redirecting it, painting it, yes, painting it, and, in extreme cases, pretending it did not exist. They recommended all manner of abstruse mechanisms, reflective silence sessions, botanical reconditioning, and a series of exceedingly dull lectures on appropriate flora for civically adapted citizens. But nothing quelled the vine. If anything, the vine thrived under duress, its petals unfurling into increasingly intricate geometries, patches of color that looked like music translated into sight, or like dreams discovering how to bloom. Eventually, the townsfolk grew bewildered enough that they confronted Esperion directly. "What is wrong with your garden?" they demanded. "Are you strange? Did some bizarre force make you like this? Did the soil malfunction? Are you sure you didn't tamper with your seeds? Surely the world didn't mean for your garden to look like that." Esperion stood calmly, one hand resting upon the vine's warm, luminous leaves. "There is nothing wrong," they said. "Wrongness is an illusion invented by those who cannot fathom what they did not plant." The words echoed across Wythlorne like the ringing of a struck crystal. Yet the resistance persisted. Villagers whispered about the danger of unregulated iridescence. Some argued Esperion should relocate to another province where such aberrant flora was tolerated. Others simply scowled, convinced that one strange vine endangered their entire horticultural harmony. But Esperion continued tending their garden, watering it with composure, pruning it with discernment, admiring it with gratitude. They would not convert their vine into anything other than its radiant self. And something extraordinary happened. One morning, quite without fanfare, a small child from a distant cottage tiptoed to Esperion's garden. She gazed at the vine in reverent silence. Her eyes shone wide as galaxies. "I've never seen anything like this," she whispered. "It makes me feel brave, like my own garden might grow something different too." Esperion smiled, gentle as dawn. "Then let it." Word spread, quietly at first, then with increasing enthusiasm. People who had long felt themselves out of harmony with the sanctioned palate began wandering to Esperion's plot. They stood among the shimmering amethyst gold tendrils, inhaling their peculiar fragrance, a scent reminiscent of forgotten hopes and unspoken freedoms. They felt something stir within, a remembrance of an inner seed they had buried long ago so as not to appear inconvenient. Before long, gardens across Wythlorne began revealing their own hidden eccentricities. A baker's courtyard sprouted star-shaped blossoms that tasted faintly of cinnamon when kissed by starlight. A cobbler's field produced vines that braided themselves like sentient shoelaces. A shy scholar's garden erupted with indigo flowers that emitted poetic quatrains whenever someone sighed beside them. The council was baffled disoriented, flummoxed into silence, and eventually, even they had to concede. The gardens of Wythlorne had never been meant to converge upon uniformity. They had been meant to sing, each with its own tonal bloom. Hesperion's vine had not corrupted the land, it had unmasked it. In time, the people of Wythlorne sculpted a new proverb, engraved upon the archway of the central plaza. Tend the garden planted in you. Compel not another to prune theirs. And beneath this was inscribed a second, more curious aphorism, Hesperion's own words, which had since become the cherished marrow of the province. I am who I am, and my garden grows what it grows. From that day forward, Wythlorne blossomed into an even more resplendent dominion, a testament to the abiding truth that diversity is not a deviation from harmony, but its deepest source. The land shimmered with gardens, no two alike, and the people finally understood the folly of homogenized horticulture. For no garden, no soul ever flourishes when forced to impersonate another. And so the Chromapetal vine continued to glow across the decades, reminding every passerby that selfhood, once honored, becomes a lantern by which others rediscover their own. Tend the garden planted in you. Compel not another to prune theirs. I am who I am, and my garden grows what it grows. Flourish.